Hello, everyone. Josh here. No new episode this week. However, I do have something really, really fun for you. If you're not aware, one of the pieces of content that we've been making each season for the Patreon the last several years has been the All'Terra Autopsy, which basically is after an episode would come out, the following Monday or Tuesday, my brother and I would get together and we would just occasionally, some of the other cast would join us, but for the most part, it's me and Ricky, and we would look over the episode, discuss what happened, go into some possibilities that could have happened, or talk about some of the lore, or occasionally just enjoy each other's company and hang out and have a good time. It's usually only about 30 minutes long. However, for this season, it being so unique and the final season of the Titans of All'Terra, I thought it would only be fitting that we share these autopsies publicly a week after they've been released on the Patreon. So if you would like to hear the autopsies as soon as they're made, you can go to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/the Titan Pod. However, if you don't have money to support us and you don't want to support us, which is totally fine. You just want to listen. You're absolutely welcome to, and I'm incredibly grateful that anyone is just even here listening at all. So thank you all. But if you would like to check out the autopsies from Season 1, Season 2, you can check those out on our Patreon. And if you'd like to get these autopsies a week sooner, then you can check that out on our Patreon as well. So without further ado, I give you the very first All'Terra Autopsy of Season 3. All right. So, Ricky, you were telling me that you're having trouble realizing that you're in your own body.
I keep having a dream, and it's like I'm a kid, and I'm going down a hallway, and there's no stairs.
But what are the stairs? Are they wood? Are they covered in carpet?
There are no stairs.
So you're going up the stairs, and there are no stairs.
No, I'm just saying there's no stairs.
So where are you?
In a hallway.
Without stairs.
Without stairs.
But if there were stairs, would they be big stairs?
No. But there's one door.
Is it next to the stairs?
Yes. And that's what's freaking me out.
This is my therapist who doesn't listen.
Yeah, yes. Who hears what he wants to hear.
That reminds me, is the other day something really funny happened.
I like how your German has just turned into Flulaborg, like, constantly.
All right, so we're going to have time between episodes to really dive in to each one, so I don't want to feel like we have to cover the entirety of the episode in this one autopsy.
So we're gonna cut this body open multiple times.
That's right. We're gonna go
in different parts of the body.
And the
hands. Right now we're doing the torso.
Yeah,
and we so the first part, the beginning of the war.
Well, here's what I think we should discuss really briefly.
Oh, okay.
Because we don't really go from season 2 right into season 3. There, like, some people were confused in like the Discord about like what happened, because
I thought we did go directly from season 2 to season 3.
Technically, we did, but like where season 2 leaves off, you guys are in the basement of the White Tower,
face to face with Cyberus Cantor.
Season 3 begins with you guys in a completely different place,
in the realm of the soul.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is
do you think it's really easy to track like the?
What I understand from what I understood is that we somehow passed out in the basement and woke up in the realm of the soul. So, like, I'm sure there's something happened in between then and there, but whatever force or life energy he has just overwhelmed us. He did something to us.
Yeah.
And kind of nullified our influence for a time until, and I don't know if he took us. And this is the other thing, is like these different realms, these different places. I'm gonna get to some of those questions later, because I want to ask about also the place that Relnor went.
Yeah.
But so from my understanding is we pass out for whatever reason, all of us. We wake up in the realm of the soul. Mm-hmm. In the realm of the soul is All'Terra, or what's his name? Terrasol. And he is
the brother's soul.
And he is in his humanoid draconic form.
His keeper form.
Mm-hmm. And he has pinned my understanding is Kama Soul, but with Justin's voice.
Yeah, so basically, Cypress Cantor, for lack of a better explanation, is
the embodiment.
Terra Soul.
So is it right to assume that the mind is the embodiment of the being?
Yeah, so
because Cypress Cantor was the mind of, or as we understood it, was the mind of Terra Soul, and Justin was the mind of Kama Soul.
Yeah.
And then we see them in their truer form or their keeper forms in this realm of soul. Terra sucks the life out of, or extinguishes the life. It seemed like more of an assimilation.
Siphons it.
Yeah, siphoned the life out of Kama/Justin, and Winnie notices that around in this realm there's a bunch of other lifeless keepers.
Yeah, and I don't know that we're done with the realm of soul, so I don't want to go into too much detail.
So my first question is, what's the difference between the realm of soul and where we meet our spirit bonds in that tree? What's that called?
Where you meet your spirit bonds is more like a.
I thought we called that the realm of soul or something like that. It was something soul.
It's probably like.
I'd have to go back and listen to.
Yeah, here's for me right now, the way that I look at it.
Or is that like an artificial
I look
version
at it
of
like,
the realm of soul?
Yeah, like a LAN party where like this is the internet. Like so like what you guys had was like just like local co-op.
A private server.
Yeah. Whereas like
apart from
the realm of soul is the Ethernet. It is the like total.
So that is a fabrication created by Artemis.
The little pocket.
The little pocket reality that we're all connected to.
Designed for the golems to communicate.
Gotcha.
Their bonds.
Gotcha. Okay. So that is also a realm of soul, but we didn't know it was like a facsimile.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like carved from the realm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's inspired by or based on.
Especially because it has all the fetchings of the physical realm. Like
I thought it was like a void with a tree.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like, but it's not all stone. Like that's the. So like what I really want, what like I think I hint at fairly regularly is that like the ancient stone is not just a different type of mineral. It is kind of the fundamental building block.
And that is kind of what Winnie, after we got done meeting Joshua by the seal, when he pulled those items out of that weird like material stone.
Yeah.
Is that the similar substance?
Yeah.
To what we experienced in the
like
realm of
matter.
soul?
Like it's kind of just like it is kind of what everything.
It is creation in its rawest form.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a visual representation that I think is the best way that
visual representation of creation as a physical substance,
like that like mortal minds can perceive.
Holy crap!
You know what I mean?
But not just that, but we experienced it in the real world. Like so. And also to clarify, it wasn't just our minds that went there; it was our bodies.
You don't know that.
Well, we know that our bodies went to the Gnome Island.
You know that your bodies came through the portal.
Yes.
Into the Gnome Island.
Yes, and we know that Relnor's body went out of the soul into some other place, which so he was able to he tried to connect with his spirit bond and ended up phasing through the soul, similar to maybe Winnie phasing through the tree, or like is there any connection there? Like when she went and touched the tree and then went through it? Okay. Somehow he went to this other like weird tropical paradise place.
Yeah. So
with animals, does that exist in All'Terra, or is that another like weird spiritual realm?
No, that's a piece of All'Terra.
Is that the garden?
Partially.
Is it? It's a garden created by Kama Soul.
It is. It is tied to the wardens. That's the most I feel like I can say. So,
the wardens were created by Kama Soul.
I call it the warden waters.
Wardens aren't just cats; they're all other animal, bipedal, human hybrids.
Yes, they're very tied to different.
So, like a minotaur would be a
could
warden.
Be
okay,
could be
okay,
or it could be a minotaur. Like I don't think a minotaur could. I feel like a minotaur can be its own complete race.
Okay.
I think there are anybody that you might consider to be like a were thing, like a half this, half that.
Okay.
Would be could be a warden.
Like a Mr. Tumnus would be a warden. Half goat, half man.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's really flexible. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not giving myself a lot of hard rules here.
Okay. I just I'm part
In
of
the
me.
patron games, we've had Iridel, of course. She's shown up in the patron games.
Cat lady.
I had a turtle warden.
So it was just coincidence that Guinevere was also a cat lady because they
She
could
is a
have been.
warden.
I know, but they're both wardens.
Yes.
But I'm just saying they both ended up being the same animal, even though they don't have to be.
Guinevere's not a cat lady.
I thought it was explained that she was.
She's a wolf lady.
What?
Vulpine.
Oh, she's a fox. She's a fox lady.
She's a wolf.
Vulpine is not wolf. Vulpine is fox.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're both, I think, canine
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
But definitely a little bit different. But
Yeah.
okay.
Very like that. Yeah.
Vulpine is fox-like. I think.
Okay. Sure, she's fox. Why not?
Okay, so she's a dog, not a cat, in the technical sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Domesticated.
Domesticated. That sounds weird.
That's what the dog is, right? The dog's just a domesticated like hound.
Canine.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if she's a vulpine, she's a fox. Foxes
Yeah.
are domesticated.
Um,
But I'm just trying to wrap my head around it all. Okay. So I never made that connection before.
anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah,
That's
I thought
pretty
she
much-
was a cat too. Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember you saying vulpine now, and that's different. Okay. Gotcha. So it shouldn't surprise me that other animals can be wardens. Because we already knew that.
I think for me, it's a way I can shoehorn in all kinds of crazy fun stuff.
But I guess no, we could say this because I haven't yet. So Relnor phases through. He's in this weird paradise.
Call it the Warden Waters.
So he's in the Warden Waters, which we don't know if that's a real place, if that's another plane of existence similar to
It
the
is a
realm
real
of the
place.
soul.
It is
Okay.
a physical place.
It's a place you could travel to from All'Terra.
It is protected by
Technically.
elder magic. Yeah.
Okay.
It is only accessible.
Similarly to the mountains that we couldn't even think about crossing.
Similar in the sense that there's a lot of elder magic around it.
Okay.
But different in the sense that it is like a pocket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so that's good. And then we see Jimmy there. Iridel's,
I think I should say there in my mind there are cognitive realms and physical realms.
and I feel like so far these are both physical realms.
Yeah,
That's what it feels.
The realm of soul is a cognitive realm.
Okay, well somehow his body went from a cognitive realm, went from the basement. His body went from the basement of that place to the Warden Waters.
His body went from the basement of the White Tower to the Warden Waters.
That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
So the realm of the soul is cognitive, so we weren't actually there.
Yeah.
But somehow him getting his mind out of there caused his body to teleport to the Warden Waters?
I think.
Sorry, it's just me trying to understand.
Yeah. His body went to the Warden Waters, and in doing so, his mind left that kind of.
But how did his body go from the basement to the Warden Waters?
That's a good question.
So is the realm of the soul like a kind of an infinite corridor of things, like where like you can access other planes of existence or other realities?
It's closer to the upside down. It's more like like
Okay.
it is directly tied to
reality.
To reality, but
but in multiple points.
but it's
So you can travel from A to B through the realm of the soul
yeah.
if you're able to.
No.
Oh.
No, it's more like you can send your mind through the realm of the soul.
But Eric didn't just do that. He sent his body through the realm of the soul.
His body phased into the ground
In the basement?
in the realm of the soul.
But I'm saying, like, because there was a direct correlation of his mind.
that was magic. His body is magical. It was a magical transfer.
Oh, okay. But how did that correlate with his mind phasing through the realm of the soul?
His mind didn't leave the realm of the soul.
When he left the realm of the soul, his body went to
So-
there was a correlation in time. Like his body went through, he woke up in the water.
So I don't think I don't think all this needs to be defined, but I will explain it.
It may not need to be, but and if you don't want to answer it, you can say like I know, but I'm not going to tell you.
No, I can
But-
explain it. That's fine.
But I'm just curious.
I don't feel like this hurts anything in the
I'm
story.
just curious how the realm of the soul works.
So,
like,
one of the things I explained really early on, as soon as Winnie was starting to come to, was the whole realm of the soul was like a plane of kind of undulating ancient stone.
I got that
with,
part.
with deep amber lights, hundreds and thousands of them glowing beneath the surface.
Does that represent its connection to the real world?
Those are all people.
Okay,
So each one of those lights was a different life.
just veins of life from
Yeah.
All'Terra.
And so you guys had basically what Terra Soul did is
me.
he pulled your mental cognitive essence out from the flow and encapsulated it in a physical a form.
So he allowed our consciousness to take on a body of what seemed to us bodies of our own.
Yes,
similar to our corporal bodies.
And what he had really done is he had removed you guys from
corporeal,
like from the surface of the realm.
Yes.
Like, so he had separated your souls from the ocean of.
So we were still connected.
Like, so
was that why it was hard for us to get up?
That it was hard because he was using magic. So that he was using a lot of his kind of like it's the exact same presence that Eric experienced trying to free.
That's what I was going to ask again. I was going to ask because they experienced that kind of oppressive force, physical force.
Yep.
In Justin's room. Yep. And also, here's another thing: is now that we've kind of understand a little better, or at least what you know.
So Relnor's body went to the he magically got his body. I'm not going to explain how.
Okay.
Magically, his body went from the White Tower to the Warden Waters, and in doing so, it freed his mind from Terrasol's grasp.
So that's the correlation.
That's why it phased back into the earth. So
was it his connection to Guinevere that allowed him to do that?
That was part of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. That makes sense then. Okay. Gotcha. So it wasn't so much that him phasing through caused him to teleport. It was his
teleporting.
It was his magical teleportation, which he did somehow, in part to his connection to a warden, Guinevere, to end up in this elder magic protected island.
Little like oasis.
Oasis.
A little lake. It's a lake basically.
The warden. What is it called?
It's a forest. It's a lake with a forest around it.
You called it the warden.
The Warden Waters.
The Warden Waters. And the waters have magical properties.
They completely healed him. Like
that was cool.
Yeah.
But in there, he met Justin.
Yes.
And Justin.
No, not Justin. Jimmy.
I'm sorry. Like Jimmy.
The will of the red guy.
Yes, he met Jimmy because Justin had just died, or at least been absorbed. We don't know if his consciousness still exists somewhere inside Terrasol, but we know that whatever he was is now no longer what he is. I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyway, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Right?
Not looking so good.
Not looking so good. Now, we don't know if something happened to him prior to Relnor arriving there, or if this is a direct correlation of what just happened to Justin.
It did. Him learning about what's happened to Justin cleared some stuff up for Jimmy.
That's what made me think that there was a correlation.
Yeah, I think
because we don't know if there was, but the reaction made me think there was.
It's a pretty good take to assume that there was.
It's a fair assumption. Okay. Now
we don't see Jimmy that serious very often, so he was
kind of and he gave up his orb because he's an immortal, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's confirmed. Jimmy is an immortal or was. I don't know what giving up his orb does to immortals. I would assume if that's the source of their immortality, then he would cease to be an immortal. And I don't know if that means time will catch up with him immediately or slowly, or if now he just picks up where he left off.
And here's what I'll say: I don't know how much the immortals will be a part of this season.
Okay.
So I'm hesitant to explain things.
Okay, that's fine.
But
you don't have to.
The immortals is something I've fleshed out a lot.
Okay.
So it's like I know most answers for this stuff.
And I don't know if I can say this, but I feel like so far they're a decent portion of like they're definitely highly connected to Joan right now.
They're power players in the world for sure.
Yeah, so I feel like we can't not learn more about them or encounter more of them.
I think you will. I don't know how titular they'll be.
Okay.
Like, because here's the deal,
here's
right?
The thing. Joss was an immortal.
Yes.
So we're definitely going to encounter him.
Well, it's like
it sounds like he's gunning for Joan.
There's a lot
we'll
going
get into that
on
later, but
in the society, and I use this term very loosely because there are not a lot of them, but in the society of immortals, there are big events happening to hear it from them.
So they are somehow connected to each other.
But like, because later, we hear Oberon, and I'm just jumping a little bit. We hear Oberon mention that there's a war coming, blah, blah. I want to make it clear, for an immortal, a war coming could mean a year or 10,000 years. So like,
except that he expressed that worry to a mortal. So you think that he would expect them to have
immortal, he wanted to be immortal. So
yes.
I want to make it clear.
But he was trying to press. He was trying to be pressing.
Of course, you have to be with immortal.
So
but what I'm saying is like, the battles of the immortals are not things that
So
necessarily.
he may have been trying to be deceptive to get Joan to just say yes.
Trying to help her understand the eminence, and maybe his intensity could have either been because he knows she's immortal, and if he's not intense, she could put it off and lose the
You
opportunity.
say she's immortal?
No,
She's amortal.
she's amortal.
Okay, gotcha.
And so his intensity could have been either because the war is imminent
Okay.
or because her death is imminent.
Let's
in
get
his
away.
mind.
Let's get away from Oberon for a moment because I do want to come back to it, and I feel like we should try and keep these
I
encapsulated
just
to
think
their portions.
immortals are going to act like the world revolves around them, but they are so not involved in the world.
Okay, well, right now they are, and they're involved in our story.
They're involved in your guys' story.
So
I would say very much on the periphery, though.
Okay, well, Jimmy's one, and he gave his orb up to Relnor to give to Joan.
Yes.
And we'll talk about more about that in the second portion of this autopsy, of the next autopsy.
Yes.
And he's injured and or fading from whatever's happening to Justin.
It's affected him.
It's affected him.
He doesn't look well.
We don't know how that ends up. I will say that when they drop Relnor off in All'Terra, him and Iredell,
They got stuff to do.
exactly. They seem like they have an errand to attend to, and rather quickly. So I don't know if that's Jimmy trying to use the time he has left well,
Yeah.
or if there's some other pressing thing that we don't know about.
So like when I think this is just a fun connection for me. Like
Okay.
we lost Iredell when you and Winnie were scouting with her, and the last thing we hear her say, she looks off in the direction and says, "They come," and then she leaves.
And we
right?
think she saw Null,
yes,
but that wasn't Null.
no,
Okay.
she saw Jimmy, and so that's so
okay.
they've been together since then. So
Gotcha.
she basically follows Jimmy
Now-
as if he's her god.
Is Iredale able to teleport to the Warden Waters whenever she wants because she's a warden?
She has access to it. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And now here's the other thing is I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I feel content with some of the questions I've asked about Relnor's journey and kind of the people he interacted
He's
with.
the only person I've explained this to, by the way.
Who?
Relnor.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like Eric knows a lot more than everybody about this stuff.
yeah, that's why I'm asking questions.
But I've made it really clear for him to like that it's up to him how much he keeps to himself.
Interesting. Okay, so he knows about the well. The waters.
At least 6 years ahead,
And
Relnor does.
Oh, okay, and he can go there whenever he wants.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
I
Don't
know
worry about
you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's cool. If that's true, that's really cool. I'm going to assume it is because I think it's cool. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When we wake up, all of us from the basement are there except for Davi.
And the guy you guys just defeated.
He was dead, so I don't
There was
think
also like cages of people in there too.
not in the rooms we were in. That was back a ways.
Not that far away.
A little bit of ways.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying you guys were in a cognitive realm.
I'm saying
You
all
were.
of us were in that room,
Yeah.
and then we were all, except for Davi, in the realm of the soul.
Yeah. I mean, and technically speaking, you could say Davi is in the realm of the soul. She's just one of the lights in the circle.
Not in the same way that we were.
You guys were
Because technically speaking, we're all in the realm of the soul all the time.
Yeah.
If you're
She was
going to use
also,
that
like,
logic.
basically knocked out. So like in terms of like who were people,
We were all knocked out. We were all passed out.
no, I mean when you guys rescued her, she was more or less like on the
She was
edge.
as conscious as Jimmy was.
She'd been being tortured. She was not doing well.
No, I know.
Yeah.
but she was still, she said something to us. Like she was conscious.
Yeah.
She was cognitive. So it's safe to assume that she's still in the basement of that tower then.
That could be. I'd say right now she's MIA.
Or if she's connected to the Red God, she might have access to the Warden Waters as well.
All we know for certain is that she's missing. That's
Okay.
I don't feel like we can really ascertain really any
That's okay.
details.
I just wanted to, because I feel like
But you're right that she was in there.
I
with
feel
you
like
guys.
her being there can easily be forgotten because she's never mentioned in the
Yeah.
first episode of season 3. So I just wanted to point out that she's still around.
Yeah.
Hopefully somewhere alive.
I think that makes total sense. I mean, you guys are encountering stuff. To me, you're taking
this
off
is all
guard
moving
quite
so
a bit.
fast.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no time to think
Yep.
of like Davi.
Yep.
There's barely time to think of Relnor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the next 3 episodes will be somewhat of a fever pitch, which for me is nice because I feel like our one-off episodes from 6 years later are all pretty chill.
They are.
And I really like the juxtaposition.
Yeah, totally. And I love I love that we're getting all these fun little tiny tidbits and hints. And I'm excited to ask more about them because I have so many questions.
It's really fun for me because I didn't plan which character's episode would be when, and I didn't even plan what each of you would be doing 6 years later. So we recorded that battle, and then I met with each of you one-on-one, and we kind of just decided, what are you up to, what's happening,
and then you got to weave in between.
And what's so cool is I'm like, okay, in the first 30 minutes, one of the biggest questions is, what's going on with this amber orb? Like, it's kind of, you guys even talk about it right before the battle gets going. Like, Roner's like, I got something for you.
Yeah, and she's like, interesting.
And then that ended up being very, like, center of what, like,
part of her
Joan decided to do.
Yes.
So, and that was very much Kelsey's decision.
And I'm excited to talk about that. Let's not get into that just yet, because I'm excited to talk about that, but I want to kind of stay on topic, just for the sake of
maybe I can try and wrangle Kelsey into the autopsy where we talk about her.
That'd be great. Well, I'm hoping we get to it today. Will we not?
We're just doing one autopsy. We got 3 minutes left.
Oh, we got to record at least. We got
a little more than 3 minutes.
Okay, because I was going to say, I'm so not even close to done.
Okay, let's keep going.
So, we covered Dalfin.
We can do more than just 2 autopsies on one
That's true. We covered, but I don't know that we have enough to fill in a whole another 30 minutes. I don't know how. I honestly don't know how long it's gonna take. I'm just full of questions, and I apologize because I'm not being very entertaining, and we're not talking about other random things like we normally do.
Focused.
But I've been thinking about it so much, and I have so many questions.
I'm glad. I'm glad that there's stuff to think about.
There's
that makes
so
me
much
really
to
happy.
think about. So much, and I'm really sad that we're not going to be talking about the second half tonight. Can we still record it tonight?
Yeah, we could if you want to. Okay. Yeah, that makes my life a little easier.
I would like to.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I was thinking about Davi. We covered most of Relnor's journey and the questions I had pertaining to that. And what
that was the other. I was debating between him and Joan, being that the first character episode.
Well, Relnor was gotcha. I see. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so the three of us are left in there. Winnie is having a very different, not a very different, but a distinctly different experience to me and Joan and Relnor because she's awoken, I assume.
Yeah, so like the runes on her flesh are glowing
and she's allowed to move more freely.
Yes.
Although she's probably not able to disconnect herself.
Yeah.
From the sinews.
Yeah, she's strapped there like
she's still strapped there, but
she has some
much more freedom of movement.
That was so risky for me because like if she decided to, she could have actually started to like manipulate the world around her.
Other people's like lifelines?
Well, the stone, like she has access to like the way that he was able to kind of like move her toward him. Like
so this is
she
where
could have manipulated it, but I think she was so and Winnie and this is Erin like doing such a great job of role playing. She played into the shocked. I even asked her, I said, you could roll against, and she goes, no.
I'm too scared. Yeah.
I'm too scared.
I'm too
This is like literally like the figure of her nightmares for the past several months. Like now like actively coming toward her.
Well, and in like a nightmare realm. Like it's like this is a scary place. I wonder if the realm of soul could look different under different management and under different circumstances. Like I wonder if it's always this dark and creepy.
That is the raw image. Like that to me is like you can doll it up and make it look different if you'd like to just feel better about it, but that is the like
but I'm wondering what it would look like with a bunch of keepers all working in unison to make all kinds of cool stuff like it probably was in the past.
It definitely wouldn't be like in the end of the day it would just be a mental space, and so like they could build stuff, but the minute they all left, it would just be gone. And
I just didn't know if there was like more color, maybe, or like not. You know what I mean? Like if
you can't
more light.
To me, they could make more places like what the little pocket you guys have with Artemis and stuff. Like you could like bring in a tree and stuff like that.
Aside from that, Winnie gets her awokenness taken away after Terra Soul absorbs Kama Soul. He removes Winnie's awokenness, and then she's just as paralyzed as the rest of us.
Yes. He undoes what Val Soul did.
Speaking outside of the game...
And he could only do that after
Is Winnie still retaining her levels from when she was awoken? I would hope so.
Yeah, she does. Okay. I didn't hurt her levels all.
Gotcha.
I will say the only reason he could do that was because he had just killed
would he not have...
Soul.
Because now he's more powerful than Val Soul was when she awoke...
Well, they're both him and Valsol are now more powerful.
Yes, but at the time, Vala wasn't as powerful as he is now.
At the time, Vala was whole and he was not. And after he absorbed Justin, he became a much more formidable.
Oh, because Vala never split herself up into mind and will.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. I see. Okay. Now, speaking of that split, after that happens, we see a figure with a spear come jumping through. and stabbing Terra's soul, and that was
Not killing him. I feel like in some discussions.
Well, I feel like that's obvious because the dragon he awakes as a dragon later.
He's not defeated.
So I wouldn't think he's dead. We see his true form.
I have like the sounds of them battling playing in the background if you're listening really closely.
Well, here also, sneak peek into the 6 years future. If he was dead, I don't think Joshua would be a problem because there is a connection, just like Jimmy, to Kama.
So you think if Joss was a problem, that means that Terra's soul's still around?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that if the will is injured by the mind's destruction, then I feel like vis-a-vis.
I want to make this clear, and I've said this before, but I think it's worth restating. We are in a magical fantasy world. We are also in a place with very poor history and a lot of different lores coming into play. So Noble, a steward, was the one that told you guys about the siblings and the split of the two keepers. There is some lost in the translation with this. The story he tells is definitely not the full picture.
Okay,
and it's definitely like dumbed down into a story
boiled
form.
Down.
Yeah. That I do think loses some of the nuance of what actually occurred.
Okay.
And so when we break it down to it is not as simple as these separate pieces that are just all part of one thing. There's a little more to it than that.
Okay.
So the Jimmy and
Joshua,
they are
called wills.
They're called wills,
but they're different.
They're humans, and they were humans before the souls had ever found them. So
but they're both immortals as well.
They're both immortals.
Okay,
correct.
So Joshua's also an immortal, which we kind of knew that already. Mm-hmm. Okay, so and we'll talk more about Joshua when we talk about Joan's 6 year later journey.
Yep. And they're also awoken. We know that as well.
Yes.
Joshua can manipulate.
Well, it would make sense because he was able to move freely in the realm of soul.
And I feel like
along with a weapon. He had a weapon.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a.
So
I don't know that this needs to be explained, but tell me if this is too on the nose or if I'm letting something go, I can edit it out. But a keeper has to awaken you. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense. I could see that.
So in order for Joshua to be able to manipulate the stones, I think it should be assumed probably
that he was awakened by Terra.
Yeah,
at one point.
Yeah,
probably around the same time he was given the orb,
or at least given the title of a will. That's kind of the that's a little bit.
Is it coincidence that both wills are also immortals, or is that standard?
That is not a coincidence.
Okay,
but I don't know that I would denote standard yet.
Okay, gotcha. No, that's good.
What is the phrase? Correlation should not infer causation.
Okay. Wait, that means that it is coincidence.
Just because they are both immortals
there's not a connection.
And they're both wills doesn't mean that
there's
all wills are immortals or that
But there is a correlation, even though that's not a standard.
Because that they're wills.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I would say that I wouldn't draw those lines.
It is possible that one could be a will of a keeper and not be an immortal.
Correct.
Okay. But they happen to be immortals, and there is a connection.
Inverse is true as well.
Okay, gotcha. Yes. Oh, yeah, we find, okay, so.
All right, give me just one or two more things here because we got
one or two more things.
We're hitting time.
We haven't even. But here's the thing: we haven't even talked about the gnomes. Here's the thing.
This is going to be more than 2 episodes, man. This autopsy is going to be bigger than.
Okay. Well, let's stop them before we talk about the gnomes because that's going to get a whole nother. Okay.
I feel like we covered the introduction of the episode.
Barely. There's a whole nother part of the introduction.
Which I think this is good. I think we should take our time with this because I don't know when the next episode will be out. And in the Discord, the way that everyone's talking about it, it sounds like it was a lot. It was a fire hose of events. It's probably better and lore and characters.
Chop it up and take it and give release.
I think this will help the digestion.
Hopefully, you guys got a lot of insight into I hope you are all patrons.
I think we learned a little bit more about the realms and this is going to be public.
Oh, this is public.
So all of this will release on the Patreon first, and then a week later it will release
I see.
Publicly.
I don't think this knowledge will necessarily be essential to enjoying the story, but I feel like you will have a real leg up on understanding and a well-rounded view of the world.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot of good information that we're getting right now.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
for that.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I'm glad.
I feel satisfied even though I'm not getting everything I
Good,
want.
good.
I feel like I'm getting enough.
Got a little bit of breath of fresh air, and you can dive back in.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Oh, I'm glad.
Oh.
This is really fun for me.
No, and I feel bad because I feel like this is a different format than what we're used to providing, because usually it's kind of tangent driven and laughter, and like I've just been drilling you with questions.
I think
the
this
whole
is
time.
good. Like I like that. This
Okay.
is it. We did what the autopsy was supposed to be. A lot of times we would just like.
2 seasons later,
Yeah.
we've achieved an actual autopsy.
Well, I think like consider the fact that I spent half a year prepping for the first season,
That's true.
like world
Yeah.
building and all that. I just had a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
world build, like, and plan and prep. So, like, we're now coming into season 3. I'm more prepared and more ready with the world and characters and stuff than I was at the very beginning of the podcast.
Well, and someone on the Discord said this, and I thought it was really true and good. They were like, a lot of people talk about the world existing outside of the players and moving on its own as the players, but not a lot of people do it very, like, or at least don't do it realistically, or like
You mean like other stories?
other
or-
DMs.
Oh.
Like it's
The
not
patron
always,
games were an active force of that. For
Okay.
sure. Like
What-
having patron games allowed me to. I didn't make a lot of what happened in the patron games straight
Yeah.
up canon, but
Can
I
you-
used it to build out the world.
Before, as we end this episode, I would like you to end it with the hierarchy of canonization that you laid out in the Discord.
Yeah.
Is that doable?
Yeah. So for me,
'Cause I feel like that'll be good to understand. That'll help to understand.
So my hierarchy of canon, it goes podcast episodes is primary canon.
Okay.
Autopsy would be secondary canon. So basically, that's like if something conflicts, number one is
Number
always
one trumps
the winner. Yeah.
for lack of a better word.
So what happens in podcast episodes is always going to be the lore.
that is primary
definitive.
canon.
Yeah.
If anything different is said outside of that, it's wrong.
Yep.
Or
And here's the deal. I do, and I don't like to use this word, but I do pride myself in not contradicting myself as much as I can in my stories and in the world building. So if something does seem like it contradicts, I would challenge someone to try and think of why it's contradictory.
reconcile it. Yeah.
Could there be a reason that this is contradictory?
Try and make it not a contradiction and more of a problem solving exercise.
Yes, thank you. Because I think sometimes I've seeded those kind of contradictions on purpose. People encounter them, and I've seen them write them off as like, well, it's been a couple years, or it's just like it's a hard thing to follow. That
Here's an example of a really easy,
which is really nice. I like the grace
Yeah.
of that, but it also part of me goes like, oh, okay, I guess we're never gonna figure that out.
Here's an example of a really easy contradiction that was solved also very easily, but that had a huge impact, and that was Luke's father being dead, and then finding out that it's Darth Vader. That seems contradictory.
Yeah.
Then he's like, "What I told you was true from a certain point of view."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like they kind of explained that contradiction away, and maybe there never was a contradiction, but it sounded like there could have been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Like
I'll say this
as far as just flat information, it was a contradiction.
I'll say this to end the this autopsy. Joshua was not an ex machina thing, and the gnomes, that's something I've been working on as well.
This is all planned.
That will have implications into further season 3. So it is a way for me to bring some of these characters back into the story at a good time, but it is not.
It's not haphazard, and it's not
haphazard or
without,
just
without
coincidence.
consequence or purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's this long one. Okay, we got it.
cool. Thanks everybody.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
We will cut this thing open again next week.
Oh.